Hello, and welcome to another episode of PodcastDX, the show that brings you interviews with people just like you whose lives were forever changed by a medical diagnosis.
I'm Lita.
I'm Ron.
And I'm Jean Marie. Collectively, we are the hosts of PodcastDX. On today's show, we are speaking with Tasha. I will say that Tasha is joining us from St. Louis, and she's going to tell us about what she's done to help promote awareness about myasthenia gravis.
Welcome to the show, Tasha.
Hello, hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So, Tasha, how has myasthenia gravis affected you personally?
Well, it has affected me in my entire life from childhood to adulthood, but my family over the years made adjustments for me, and I pretty much live a normal life.
Okay, and you said that this has affected you since childhood. Tasha, how old were you when you first started noticing symptoms, and did it come on suddenly, or was this a slow and progressive disorder?
Well, it started before my 7th birthday in 1993. My mom, from what she would tell me, she would, like any other kid, your parent would say, go clean your room and things like that. Mm-hmm. But she told me I kind of was sluggish and would always be sitting down or laying down or something like that. Just really unusual for, I guess, an energetic kid around that age. So she pretty much knew something wasn't right, and that's when she went and got me looked at.
Okay.
How long did it take you to get a diagnosis? I mean, you were sluggish and this and that, and you're a kid, but how long did it take your family to get you a diagnosis?
I believe I was diagnosed pretty quickly because I actually tested positive for the MG antibodies.
Oh, okay.
So I had the EMG done, and that measures how well the muscles get the signals from the brain to the body. And then I had a nerve conduction study done, and that measures how fast and how strong the electrical activity is in the nerve. And those tests were really painful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sticking needles and then running electricity through it doesn't sound like something any child should have to go through.
No, for sure.
At all.
Yeah. And how have they treated your condition, and how are you currently being treated? And is there medication that'll help with myasthenia gravis?
Yes. So growing up, I was on methadone. I had, as a kid, I had the liquid form, and then, growing up, I ended up transitioning to the pill form.
Okay.
So I've pretty much been on methadone all of my life.
Wow.
Prednisone off and on. I'm currently on that now, but now I've moved down to twice a week, so I'm really, really excited about that. But I get a maintenance infusion called Rituxan, which has been a blessing to me.
Okay.
So I started that at the end of 2017, and I started noticing, like literally immediately after my second infusion, I wasn't taking methadone as much as I used to. So I, contact my doctor all the time, and I was telling him, I'm starting to see a change, so what can we, test out the medication, a couple of days, a week, on and off. And honestly, with the infusions that I get now moved up to every 4 months, I cannot tell you the last time I've taken methadone. So that's always a great sign.
Oh, sure, because there's always
Wonderful.
side effects with medication.
Right.
So
that's fantastic.
anytime you can reduce. I know that with myasthenia gravis, muscles tend to get weaker the more you use them. So like if you're using them a lot, then they get weak. So does that mean that you can't exercise or go to physical therapy to keep the muscles strong? I don't know how that works.
Some people aren't able to do a bunch of, we wouldn't go to the gym and, get on a bunch of the machines there. So little light exercises at home that you can sit in a chair. I know they're like maybe 2 to 5 pound weight. Okay. You can have in your hand and just move a few times. But I consider myself a little bit unique with MG. I don't really have the textbook symptoms that you would, read about and, you would listen to other people that they have. I'm able to exercise.
Oh, good.
Great.
I walk,
Mm-hmm.
and I can probably lift a little bit more than 5 pounds in the hand,
Mm-hmm.
but I get out and walk. I can
Good
do
for
a
you.
lot.
Yeah.
So I try to make sure. My mom never limited me when I was a kid.
Okay.
She let me be a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So with that instilled in me, I don't limit myself as an adult.
Okay.
I know my limits,
right. So
but
like the limits were just whatever you could do. It was like
pretty much.
okay.
She let me be a kid, and I'm an adult now, and I pretty much do what I want to do.
Okay.
I just don't let MG stop me.
That's
awesome.
good. That's great. Have you ever experienced what they call a myasthenia gravis crisis?
Yes,
And
my very first one.
okay.
Oh.
And does your family have an action plan for when that happens?
Yes, so I do have tell signs when I'm not feeling well. When I had my first crisis, it was in 2015, but I had no clue really what was going on because I didn't have the weakness in the arms and the legs. So when I know that it's active, my lips and my tongue start to tingle.
Okay.
Oh,
But
okay.
this particular time, I had a stress trigger.
Oh,
But I had already, I've had stress triggers before, but nothing like this.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So my son had asked for a cup of water, and the cup fell out of my hand, but my fingers were locked, like I was holding the cup. So I knew something was wrong, and my speech started slurring, and my neck muscles got weak, and I started noticing my head started going down. So that's when I went to the emergency room. But I had never had a crisis before, so I really didn't know what was going on.
Oh, that must have been scary.
Right, right. Were you aware that it might have happened so that you weren't thinking, oh, this might be a stroke? I mean, have you heard that it might happen?
Now, when I went to the emergency room, the ER doctor thought I was having a stroke.
Sure.
But I had to kind of explain to him through slurred speech. I said, no, I have myasthenia gravis.
Mm-hmm.
So, once they get into your file and things like that, they'll they'll read over your chart.
Right.
And since it's not so known and it can take years to literally be diagnosed, it was I feel like a guinea pig.
Mm-hmm.
So, they were asking so many questions and, trying to figure out what medications I could take because we have a blacklist of a lot of medications we can't.
Okay.
So it was, when he said stroke, I was like, no, that's not it.
Right.
Wow. I wonder if one of those emergency bracelets or something would
right.
help.
Well, and I've seen that other people carry like a brief symptom and a condition overview sheet that they present the ER when they go in.
Keep it in your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that because sometimes maybe whoever's the attending physician that day, they may not be familiar with the condition
Mm-hmm.
or the best way to treat it, or like you said, there's just medications that you can't give someone with myasthenia gravis. Yeah, that's very
Yeah. So now I started carrying them. I just pretty much got on with Microsoft Word and made my own little medical card.
Good.
That's
So
awesome.
just basic information.
Mm-hmm.
Even my son, he knows about it. He's 11, and he really helps me out a lot.
Good.
That's great.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Future doctor.
Yes,
in the
let's send
making?
him to
Absolutely.
medical school. Right. Tasha, I understand that not only are you living with this MG, but you're also starting a nonprofit organization. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So I created my Walk with MG from my hospital bed. And after that first experience with the crisis and just pretty much talking to other, nurses and other doctors, they didn't really know much about it. And the ER nurse that I had, out of her, she told me her 25 plus years, I was her second patient with
Wow.
MG. So I talked to my mom about it, and then she asked me, she said, are you sure this is something you want to do? Because an organization is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes. And we don't really have a local chapter here. So from 2015 to 2017, I started just gathering notes, writing things out. I created a Facebook page, but I never published it for the public yet.
Okay.
And my second 10-day stay, I had plasmapheresis done.
Okay.
I signed up for back to college. From during my treatment, I was talking to the advisor, and March of this year, I finally went public, and it's really been amazing.
Well, that's
Good.
great. So,
Yeah.
so basically, what it does is bringing awareness.
Right. And I've read several posts on your blog, which it's wonderful to hear stories from individuals, because like you were saying, not everybody's signs and symptoms and their, of myasthenia gravis is going to be cookie cutter. So it's great to hear from a number of different people. That's wonderful. Thank you. And what are your future plans for My Walk with MG?
I want to connect continue to connect like I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to people in Australia, Scotland, Honduras, the Philippines, and just to see how the difference is, out of the country. And from where I am, I want to connect more on the emotional side
Mm-hmm.
of MG. We got the walks and we have the, articles and things like that, but I want to talk to people. So if you go on my Facebook page, and I reference it also on Instagram and Twitter, and as well as my website, I have a segment called Living with MG.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different races and genders and ages of everybody that live with it day to day. And I speak with these people. If not every day, weekly, I check on everybody that reaches out to me.
Very supportive.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I love your Instagram feed. We follow that. It's very
Thank
supportive
you.
for everybody.
Tasha, earlier you mentioned you've got a son. You've also started the nonprofit. You said you're going back to college. With everything going on in your life, when do you find time to rest?
I sleep when he's at school. So I sleep when he's at school. He's a sixth grader now, so he wants to be in everything.
Oh, sure.
So I have literally, I see my son Monday and Friday when he comes home from school. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, he's out in the world, handling his business. But we do our homework together. He helps me. I help him. He has been he's my rock. Mm-hmm. My mom is my right-hand girl. Mm-hmm. So between those two, they keep me out of the hospital. They make me sit down, and if my mom notices she can look at me and just say, go lay down. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, well, what are you looking at? I have the droopy eye that I don't really notice until, she says something, I go look. But she'll take over for me.
Okay.
And then I'll get my good night's sleep. But they really, make sure I'm good.
That's great.
That's fantastic. I'm glad that you have that support.
Definitely.
Well, and Tasha, what helps you make the most of your days? Do you have any tips or hints or helpful advice for other patients with MG on how to make the most of your days and get through tough periods?
My advice would be to remove the word can't from your life.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah.
There is nothing. The only thing that we have to do is make adjustments. But we can really do what we want to do. And I would encourage anybody with any kind of health issue, always speak with your medical team with things that you want to do. I still travel.
Okay.
With my son. I will get in a car and we will go 2 hours away to get a slice of pizza. And a lot of people, I've noticed speaking with them, they're a little scared, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. I never want to dismiss those feelings, but just looking, if one positive thought can push you to do everything that you want to do. If you want to travel, make your adjustments, get your medications together, and go see the world. Mm-hmm. If you just want to sit on your porch with a cup of coffee, by all means, sit on the porch and drink your coffee. It's a lot of life, and I never want anyone to miss out on it because of a health issue that they have. Minor adjustments and live your life.
Awesome.
Earlier you mentioned your mom being your right hand and your son being your rock. So your friends and your family, even your religion, how have they helped you in your journey?
They are so supportive as well. A few of my friends that I've known, since I was 6 and 7 years old, I didn't tell them. They found out later years. And one, she asked why. I said, well, we were children. It's kind of a downer to say, oh, I have this, and then I'm hit with a bunch of questions, but I couldn't answer them, so I didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But they work with me from, some of them live out of state. They were active when I had my lunch party, and my family, they've always been there. Everybody was understanding of everything, and they they kind of knew about it because I'm the second person in the family so it wasn't, a big surprise to them, but, they already knew what it was.
And Tasha, who else in your family has myasthenia gravis?
One of my aunts.
Oh, okay. Did you grow up seeing how she lived her life, and made those small adjustments to make her life as enjoyable as it could be?
Well, I didn't really know that she had it either until I guess I was around my teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually got to see what it could possibly do to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a little battle with it, but she's in school too.
Oh, awesome.
Good for her.
Yeah, so she pushes as hard as I do, and I really admire her for that.
That's awesome.
Well, that's good that you got a good role model.
Yeah. Well, and your mom, I'm sure, is an amazing role model.
So, Tasha, how can our listeners learn more about My Walk with MG? What is the link for that?
I am on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter under My Walk with MG. My website is mywalkwithmg.org, and I update my blog weekly, and I communicate with everybody on there as well. If you send me a message on any social media platform, I am going to answer you within 30 minutes. I'm very responsive because I get excited when I hear that message notification go off, even if it's just a comment from one of the posts. I really enjoy talking with people, those with MG and those without MG, because they have more questions than the actual patient does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to know that family members and friends are really trying to understand what it is and how they can, be there for their loved one that has it.
Sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining our show today, Tasha. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Yes, thank you.
Tasha.
Likewise. Thank you.
If you have any questions or comments related to today's show, you can contact us at PodcastDX@yahoo.com, through our website, PodcastDX.com, on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, or Instagram.
And if you have a moment to spare, please give us a review wherever you get your podcast. As always, please keep in mind that this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regime. And never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've heard on this podcast.
Till next week.